up, everyone? I'm here with Travis McIntosh, lead programmer on Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. How's your show going, man?
It's great. We're showing off the game, and the reaction has been fantastic. We love it.
So you've got 3 levels at your show, or well, your two levels, and then you also showed us a 3D trailer of the game. The first level was the boat level that we saw at the press conference. That was an intense level. How did it feel to kind of lead off the press conference as the big first game they showed?
Oh, it was fantastic. We made that demo to lead off the press conference. We wanted to really show what Uncharted 3 was going to be about, which is crazy.
So let's talk about this cargo level for a minute, because that is, the new level that you're showing here. What, it seems like there's definitely some real kind of other desert action movie inspirato there. What were you kind of going for with some of the dynamics of that level?
What we really want to push in this game is melee, like Indiana Jones melee. We want it to feel like you're in an action movie. And we did some of that in Uncharted 1 and 2, but really we're taking it up a notch this game.
3D is obviously something that is kind of being pushed this time around, especially with this game and a couple other titles that Sony's got at the show. You look at 3D, it's something that some people think is still a little bit gimmicky, but honestly, looking at the trailer that you guys showed, it's you're doing some cool things with it. How much the future of games do you really think this 3D thing is?
3D is really hard, and we've spent a lot of time on it, and we didn't spend a lot of time on it for gimmick. We want 3D to add to the gameplay. So, for instance, if you need to judge the distance of a jump in Uncharted, in 2D, sometimes that's hard with perspectives and cameras. In 3D, you can just see how far it is. It's just the depth. Start to finish, we have scripted and tweaked and changed every game camera, every scripted camera, every animation camera to fit with the 3D paradigm. So everything is hand-tuned to be perfect for the scene you're seeing or the gameplay you're seeing. Yeah. And that's really important to doing 3D right.
One of the things that I've sort of appreciated about the Uncharted series is that it doesn't feel like you're trying to kind of shoehorn in this kind of trilogy thing. It's a lot of games are just this is the start of a new trilogy, this is the end of the trilogy, and then it's nah, I'm just going to keep making sequels or whatever. Do you think this is something to just keep going forever? Drake will just keep having adventures forever?
Definitely. We did not conceive Uncharted as a trilogy. This is each game is standalone, has a beginning and an end. In each game, you can pick up any game and play it, and there's no reason we have to stop. And unlike in a live-action Indiana Jones, he's not going to get old. And
he's hopefully not going to be visited by any aliens anytime soon. So I don't want you to spoil nothing. I don't want you to talk about anything, crazy secret that you're not going to show here. But what's the thing about Drake's Deception that you're most personally excited for?
As a programmer, I'm most excited for some of the hardest technical stuff, and that's going to be the sand and the water.
The one thing I'll say about the boat level that I was pretty impressed by, it's it feels like the geometry of that thing kind of moving around and Drake having to kind of balance himself over and over again. That doesn't seem like it would be super easy to make look good and work right.
Oh no, it was not easy. That was one of the hardest things we had to deal with. And the ocean is simulated, not pre-canned, and the boat is resting on the actual ocean. It's moving with the ocean. I, as a gameplay programmer, can't predict how the boat is going to tilt and move, and it moves even when you're in the hold. If you can't see the ocean, the boat is still moving on that ocean. And so that was crazy hard, but I think it turned out really awesome.
I think most people would tend to agree from watching the press conference. Well, thank you, Travis. It was awesome. Appreciate it. The game looks great. I am here with Taylor Kurosaki. You're the cinematics lead. You do all the cutscenes and the trailers and stuff for Naughty Dog. How are you doing, sir?
I'm a little tired. I feel better today, though.
How did it feel to, kind of see your baby up there as the big first lead-in game for the press conference? Was it kind of worth losing the sleep, or?
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's you want to get your stuff out there. You want people to be impressed. You really want to wow people. The way I approach these kind of trailers and stuff is, if it moves me emotionally, I'm hoping that it translates to others, and it was good seeing that reaction.
I'm a guy who likes trailers. I like good, well-cut trailers, and that was a good stinger moment. Is that something that you're always looking for, that one big cutaway moment when you're editing those things together?
Yeah, absolutely. The cargo plane was something we knew we wanted to have as our last shot in the trailer, and it's funny because we thought it was pretty. We cut it in a couple different ways. We had it where you're when you whip around and then you see that you're behind a plane. We had it so you just cut and you realize you're behind a plane off the beginning, from the very beginning, and all of it played really well, and we were all really stunned by it. And then at the 11th hour, literally the day before we finished the trailer, one of the particle artists put in a crate. It was falling out of the plane and almost hits you, and it was like our sound mix had already been done, and we just threw it in there, threw some sound on it, and we were like, okay, that's it. That's the icing on the cake.
So are you involved in like the voice direction sessions? Like, do you sit in on those?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that I'm always sort of baffled by, because like a lot of times voice hacking in games, let's face it, is awful. It's just kind of deplorable, and I think a lot of the times it feels like that happens because there just isn't real voice direction. It's get an actor in, get them to read their lines, and just go, because there just isn't budget to spend time working on that. How much do you sit there and say to Nolan, like, no, try this different inflection, what have you?
Absolutely. I mean, all the time. I mean, one of the things that's great is by the time you're on a third game of something, your actors, if they're good, if you've cast well, they are the characters. I mean, they know the ins and outs of the characters. They know what a character would say, what they wouldn't say, how this could be phrased better. I mean, we really encourage a lot of playing, a lot of exploration while we're in the voiceover sessions, and we really feel that gives us the most amazing stuff. I mean, it's obviously Amy Hennig is our writer, and she is very specific. I mean, there are things that she once said a certain way because she wants to call them back later in the game. But by the same token, like our cast and our, we just collaborate, and it's like any idea is a good idea, no matter where it comes from.
So you get a lot of Nolan North riffing? Is there like just like tapes and tapes of him just like riffing on the character, just never unused?
There's a lot of stuff that we could never share with the public. I'll put it that way.
Is it just him just like swearing up a storm, just have like a soundboard for that for the office?
Well, there's a lot of that. And I've got my own little private collection of that 2 in the morning I can just bust that out and play it for the office, and everyone, gets a good laugh at it when we're back to work. But there's also like sometimes you reach a breaking point as an actor. Sometimes you're just bleary-eyed and delirious, as all of us are. And on Uncharted 2, there was a specific moment when he's escaping from Shambhala and running away from that collapsing bridge, and it's crumbling behind him. We had done like a 16-hour voiceover day, and Nolan was just fried. And literally, one of the playthroughs, he starts running, and he starts clucking like a chicken as he's running across this thing, and it's just like... And yeah.
Alternate audio track? Alternate commentary?
Yes, absolutely.
I would pay good money to hear that. Now, the last thing, I would say the big push that Sony is making on a lot of these titles, especially Uncharted, is the 3D aspect of it. How do you feel about the 3D, within the context of the game?
I mean, I think we were all a little unsure about 3D initially, and then we realized very early on how much it helps you as a player. I mean, if you're in cover, you can actually sort of see around the cover a little bit more by moving the camera. I mean, you can really tell spatially how far something is away from you. You can judge jumps better. You can see into the screen further. It really does help. And story-wise, it's another tool in your toolbox to help tell the story more effectively. But really, we feel like, don't worry about the pressure from the outside. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Just do what you do and do it well. And if you just keep staying true to that, hopefully you're going to succeed.
Well, based on what we've seen so far, I think you guys are probably in a pretty good position to succeed with this one. Taylor, thanks again so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll be back with more from the E3 show floor. Word.